guys, it's Rachel here, and today I'm going to be filming for you guys my most anticipated books of early 2015. Now, most of these books are probably YA, but a couple of them are fantasy and a couple of them are adult. So we're just going to go ahead and get this started. Like I said, this is a list of my most anticipated books in early 2015. So the furthest any of these books is going to be May. And I'm very excited to read all of these books. So yes, I have a list right here. There's about 14 books, I think. And if there's a picture currently out for the book, I will go ahead and insert it right here. And if I know what the book is about, I will let you guys know. A lot of these are sequels though, or endings to trilogies and series and whatnot. So you'll just kind of have to bear with me there. I will probably let you know what the original book was about and then kind of move on from there. So the first book that I'm really excited about is going to be P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. And this comes out on May 26th. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, Rachel, I thought you didn't like Jenny Han. No, that's not true. I don't not like Jenny Han. I just feel like her books are really more centered or geared for a younger audience, more of a tween audience. And me being almost 25, it's kind of hard for me to be like, yes. I do still want to read the companion book to All the Boys I've Ever Loved Before by Jenny Han. And if you guys haven't read that one, that's pretty much the story of our main character who writes letters to boys that she is in love with. And when she writes these letters to the boys, this basically is the end of her feelings towards them, and then one day the books or the letters that she has written to all these boys get accidentally mailed out, and she has to deal with the consequences that ensue. And so this is going to be the companion novel to All the Boys I've Ever Loved Before. I did like the ending to All the Boys I've Ever Loved Before enough to where I want to read the companion novel to it. The second book that I'm excited about is going to be End of Days by Susan E. and it's going to be the third book in the Angel Fall series by Susan E. Now, there has not been a whole lot of talk about when this book is going to come out, but you know what? I am very ready for it to come out. Supposedly, this book is going to be coming out on May 12th, and there is no set cover for it, so I can't really give you guys a cover for it, but I'm very, very excited for this book to come out. If you guys don't know what Angel Fall is basically a post-apocalyptic world in which angels have come down from heaven and destroyed everything, and our main character Penryn is just trying to survive with her mother and her psychotic mother and her younger sister Paige. Well, one day when she is trying to get away from the area that she's in, her sister Paige is kidnapped by a group of angels, and the angels leave a wingless angel on the ground, and this angel and Penryn get together to find a way for Penryn to get her sister back and for this angel to get his wing back. I absolutely loved Angel Fall. I loved World After even more. They are excellent, very dark and morbid, and I absolutely love that. And so I'm very ready for End of Days to come out. So Susan E., if you ever watch this, please, 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 just release the book, please. The next book that I'm very excited about is going to be A Darker Shade of Magic, and this is by V.E. Schwab. You guys know her as being the amazing author of Vicious, and she also is the author of The Unbound and The Archived, and I am very excited for A Darker Shade of Magic. I was lucky enough to be one of the people that received a preview of A Darker Shade of Magic when it was on NetGalley, and I absolutely loved it, and I'm so ready for the book to come out. And plus the cover, you guys, the cover is perfect. And if you guys don't know what this one's going to be about, this a story with parallel universes and a guy that is the last of the time traveler kind of dudes, and he can go in between parallel universes. One has a Mad King, and it's got London, and it's just so fantastic, you guys. I absolutely just can't wait for this book to come out. And Darker Shade of Magic comes out on February 24th. The next book that I'm very excited about is going to be Shadow Study, and this is by Maria V. Snyder. And this is like the fourth book or the newest book in the study series by Maria V. Snyder. Now, originally the study series just consisted of Poison Study, Magic Study, and Fire Study, and the trilogy was completed, but then we found out early last year that she had been contracted to do 3 more books for the study series. So Shadow Study is the next book to come out within the series, and I'm very excited about it. It doesn't get too much talk on BookTube, but I really like it as a fantasy series. It's very, very fun. A lot of people liken it to Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, but I just want to go ahead and tell you guys this book came out before Throne of Glass, so there you go. And this follows our main character named Yelena, and Yelena is pretty much on death row until the king gives her an ultimatum. She can either go through with her execution, or she can become the taste tester for the king. Obviously she chooses to be the taste tester, and yeah, the story takes on from there. I really enjoy Poison Study, I really enjoy Magic Study. I am almost finished with Fire Study, but I'm very excited to read Shadow Study, so I will be reading, finishing Magic Study very, very soon so that I can be ready for that, and that book comes out on February 24th. The next book that I'm very excited about is going to be The Winter's Crime by Murray Rutkowski, and this is the second book in the, I guess, the Winter's Crime trilogy, the first book being The Winter's Crime. And I read this one pretty recently, and I read that with Sarah and Lindsay, and I really, really enjoyed it. This one follows our main character named Kestrel, and Kestrel is the daughter of a very well-to-do, very decorated general in the world that they are in. And one day when she is going through basically the town area with one of her best friends, she stumbles upon an auction, and she ends up purchasing a slave, and stuff ensues. So The Winter's Crime is going to be the second book in the trilogy, and I am very excited to read it. And The Winter's Crime comes out on March 3rd. The next book that I'm very excited about is going to be A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and this book comes out on May 5th. Now, this will be the newest book by Sarah J. Maas, and this one is going to be kind of a Beauty and the Beast retelling from my understanding, and I'm pretty excited about it. This is supposed to be a little bit more dark and a little bit more adult, so I'm very curious to see how Sarah J. Maas is going to take this on. The next book I am excited about is going to be Half Wild by Sally Green, and this one comes out on March 24th, and this is the second book in the, I guess, Half trilogy by Sally Green, the first book being Half Bad, and this follows a main character who is the son of a white witch and a black witch, and the black witch happens to be the most powerful and most evil black witch there is, and he is basically shunned, very hated, and he just wants to find his dad. And I really enjoyed Half Bad. It's not my favorite book of all time, but I really enjoyed it. I do not care for the love interest within the story, but I am still very excited to read the story to see how the trilogy does continue. The next book I have is going to be Burning Kingdoms by Lauren DeStefano, and this is the second book in the Internment Chronicles by Lauren DeStefano, the first book being Perfect Ruin, and this book comes out on March 10th, which, side note, is my 4-year anniversary with my fiance. But yes, this is the second book to the To Perfect Ruin, and this pretty much follows a world that is on a giant rock in the sky called Internment, and if you get too close to the edge of Internment, you go mad. And there is a murder on Internment, and this is the first murder that is pretty much recorded in a long time. And so everything is not as gravy as it seemed. And although this book comes out on March 10th, I am lucky enough to have a arc of Burning Kingdoms. I requested this, and I like freaked out when I saw this in the mail, so I am so excited. Thank you so much, Simon & Schuster. I am so excited to read this. And yeah, so this one comes out on March 10th, and I just am so happy. The next book is going to be I Was Here by Gayle Forman, and this one comes out on January 27th, and this is Gayle Forman's newest book, and this is a contemporary, so you know it's going to have the feels, and this pretty much follows a main character named Cody, whose best friend has committed suicide, and when Cody goes to to clean out her best friend's stuff. She ends up finding some interesting stuff about her best friend that she didn't know before, and kind of gives her an idea of what happened surrounding her friend's suicide. And so I am pretty excited to read this because I really do like Gayle Forman's writing style. I wasn't the biggest fan of Where She Went. I did like If I Stay, and I still really need to read Just One Day. The next book I have for you guys is going to be Things We Know by Heart by Jessie Kirby, and this one comes out on April 21st. And I heard about this book from Jillian from A Bookish and Nerdy, and pretty much this follows a main character whose boyfriend tragically dies in a car accident, and he was an organ donor, listed as an organ donor, so his heart is given to someone who is dying. And the main character chooses to try to reach out to the recipient of said heart, and the guy doesn't respond, but she, through snooping through Google, through Facebook, figures out where this guy is, and she chooses to become a part of his life. And although she does not tell him that he is a recipient of the heart of her deceased boyfriend. This book is either going to be very good or very bad just because of the subject matter of it, but I am looking forward to it in the sense that I feel like this is a book that's going to be very emotional, and so I'm very excited to read this one, and this one does come out on April 21st. And lastly, and probably one of the most exciting ones on the list, is going to be Visions of Silver by Anne Bishop, and this one comes out on March 3rd, and this is the third and final book to the Written in Red trilogy by Anne Bishop, the first book being Written in Red. And I'm very excited to read this. I recently read Written in Red with Riley from Riley Marie 1196, and I really enjoyed it. I did not like the first part of it, but man, when I was getting to the very end, I was in love with it. And if you don't know what Written in Red about, is pretty much follows our main character who is a blood prophet, and this means that when you cut her, that she can see into the future, and so obviously there are people that are after her. She takes haven in a small town that has the others are pretty much wolves, bears, crows, whatnot. They can morph into humans, and they do not have a very good relationship with humans, but she takes shelter with them and things ensue. It is so good, you guys. I really recommend Written in Red. I think you guys that would be something that you guys would really enjoy, but the third book comes out on March 3rd, and I'm very excited to see how the trilogy does end. Whew! So there you go, guys. Those are the few books that I am very excited for the beginning of the year, all the way up until about May. If you guys are excited about any of these books, go ahead and let me know down below. And also, you guys, if you guys are excited about any books, go ahead and let me know down below, because I'm very excited to see you guys' thoughts on them. But other than that, thanks you guys so much for commenting, liking, subscribing, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.